How did you execute that? Were you in a room together with a whiteboard yelling at each other, or what were you walking or paddleboarding on the Copenhagen canals?
I think as when you first find your founder and you come with idea, I think what me and Leo did so well was we had a mate in Copenhagen that had a company, and we were like, hey, can we borrow your office space 3 times a week at nighttime when you don't use it?
And weekends.
And weekends. And then we told Leo, let's meet minimum 3 times a week. Okay. At this time frame. After work, even if we have nothing to do, we still met and we brainstormed or we talked about on something. And suddenly, you send 1 email out, you send 2 emails out, you get a reply, and then the ball just kind of started rolling. But just meeting 3 times a week in those 4-hour time frame and doing that constantly was kind of like what started SuppleMe as a foundation. I think that's super, super important when you find your co-founder.
Nothing is laid out for you. You have to create everything yourself. You have to create the opportunities, the work, the vision. Like it's a long stretch. You have to know that there's nothing as overnight success. It's persistence. You never quit. You work hard, believe in yourself, because you'll get all the resistance against you in the world. That's just because you're trying to create something new.
And it's always, I also love asking this one as well, is that, so you had software sales, both of you, got on really well, clicked. Did you go up to your boss that day and say, look, Kevin, we've had enough. Yeah. We're leaving.
So listen, we started doing all these things. So we also start traveling the world, meeting with industry experts and people who knew more than us and people who do similar stuff and very different things that just knew about the consumer space and what people wanted. So it was not just based on, I think this is how it works. And we met with people and traveled the world, different places in Europe, Netherlands, Germany, UK, in the UK as well,
Switzerland,
Poland, Switzerland. So we went around, but we still had our existing job. So when you do innovative supplements, we're gonna pitch it in a moment, I guess. Then there's a long research phase where you have to get the puzzle right, because it's not like a software you can make an MVP and start getting your first customers. You need to do everything and test it and analyze it and get the approvals before we can do any sales. So you double down.
Wow.
So in this time, that took a year, we still had our full-time job. 9 to 5, from 5 to 11, 12 in the evening. The weekends we loved the weekends because then we could start working on SuppleMe with a fresh mind because we could start early. So there was this long grind where we just bootstrapped it. We needed the money from another job.
We were had a full-time job and worked SuppleMe late at nights. Funding SuppleMe. It's kind of we bootstrapped it SuppleMe because we had rent and we had a life and we had expenses and bills to pay. That's really, and it was the moment when we actually so when we started SuppleMe. And when we kind of found out, okay, what is we want to do? We want to create innovative science-backed supplements, surely for endurance sports. And we'll come to our technology in a short bit. But we then applied for innovation grant in Denmark, where we got £50,000 from the government. Soft money. Thank you. And that's kind of what bootstrapped SuppleMe. We got this cash in and we're like, okay, now we got some cash. Now we can do the product. We can buy inventory. We can go out and get our first clients. That's really what kickstarted the whole SuppleMe.